Gotham Knights. We'll probably have a really long discussion about this one. So, in the recent trailer, I believe it was called like the Villains trailer. They showed Harley Quinn, Clayface, and they didn't straight up show Professor Pig. They showed like one of his goons, but Professor Pig's going to be in the game based on that. Um, and it seems like each villain will be hatching their own individual plans, which actually they are. It's been confirmed because since then, it's been a couple weeks since Gamescom. And like there's been some more stuff from developers to come out, and they said that the villains have their own things going on outside of the overarching Court of Owls storyline, and you'll be able to do those side missions. And Clayface's goons look like they're just straight up clones of him, similar to like spoiler alert for Naruto, but similar to the White Zetsus from Naruto. And like I said, we saw Professor Pig goon, and IGN released the full on Harley Quinn boss fight. Well, not well, they cut out the last bit, but most of the boss fight they showed, and that was the most interesting display of the game I've ever seen, and this is the first time I've genuinely been excited and interested in this game. Was seeing that gameplay. It made the game look fun, and I was like, oh, something that makes the game looks interesting and fun. And apparently, a lot of people agree because everybody's like, wow, this looks good. The rest of these trailers had me trepidatious, but this one has people interested, including myself, who didn't really care too much about the game before. And you, as a person who was already into the game, did these? I assume you've probably seen the boss fight and this trailer. Did these heighten your excitement even more?
Not really, if I'm being entirely honest. I don't. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not a huge Harley Quinn fan in the first place, and the boss fight was just kind of a boss fight. I'm not a big boss fight person anyway, unless it's like super unique and interesting.
I
But this
live I
just
live
kind
for
of looked
boss
like a regular
fights.
boss fight to me.
I live for boss fights. Boss fights are some of the most interesting things in games for me personally. I love a good boss fight. It's probably
For
why
me,
it's
a
why
boss
heck
fight
it's why I
has to
like
be interesting.
it's why I like hack and slashes so much, and it's why I like Metal Gear so much. Metal Gear has some of the greatest bosses of all time, and so do most
A
hack and
boss
slash
fight
games.
for me, like, has to be unique and interesting if it's gonna hold my interest at all. And this just looked like a regular boss fight to me. I'm not like it was alright. I'm interested to see what comes out of Clayface though, and I'm definitely interested in a lot of what they talked about on like in interviews around Gamescom around like how crimes and open world crimes work. Especially IGN, they did a IGN thing where they didn't let IGN touch the game, which was a little weird, but they got to see a lot of it and they got to interview.
So that's been happening a
Um,
lot lately. Like every time IGN has talked about seeing a game in the past like couple months, they've always said they didn't let us touch the controller, but we did watch them play it, and it's really weird.
that is really weird because you can't really get like a in depth like review of how the game feels if you can't play the game. So it's just a little bit weird to me that they didn't let them touch the
Like
game.
the same thing happened
But
with the recent God of War gameplay that they showed that was like 1 minute long, which was like so trash. Like I'm already sold. I'm gonna get the game. But like, why show us anything if you're just gonna show us like 2 minutes of gameplay? It was so stupid. I hated it.
But yeah, no. But in that interview, they talked about how some of the open world crimes work and how the city works. Like as far as like the systems with like crime and discovering crime, taking on new cases and stuff like that works. And that all sounds really interesting to me and really good. Like you can basically decide when a night is over, but you can never stop all the crime in the city in one night because obviously after 15 years of doing this, Batman couldn't stop all the crime in the city, even like over consecutive like 15 years. You can't stop all the crime in the city in one night, and there's always going to be crimes that you've missed and crimes that are going to reset and stuff like that. And that sounds really interesting to me. You kind of have to pick and choose what crime you're going to focus on. That sounds really interesting to me, and I hope that it kind of works like that with cases as well. Like maybe you'll find out like two crimes are linked that seem to have like nothing to do with each other, but like you find out they're linked and like that unlocks like some kind of side quest. That's what I really hope. I really want the investigation aspect of this game to like be in depth. I feel like it's not going to because I feel like unless it's specifically a investigation, like a game made for investigation, like the Sherlock Holmes games, they don't really like focus on investigation or the like details on investigation are going to be loose. But that like the fact that you can't stop all the crime in one night, that you have to like pick and choose crimes and stuff like that, that really interested me,
Yeah,
and
I'd
I'm
love.
super excited for this
I'd
game.
love a Batman game that put just as much emphasis and like time and you know into the gameplay aspect of the investigation and detective part as much as they do the combat and the stealth.
That's what I really want, and I really hope that Gotham Knights does that for me.
I
Arkham
doubt it.
did not do that for me, like at all. You just kind of walked around the place and looked for clues and then put it together for you. I really want something on the level of like Sherlock Holmes Chapter One investigation,
How did you
but
like?
like with Arkham combat and stealth and open world.
How did you like the way the Telltale game did the investigation?
Not really. I mean, I feel like it's still the thing that I really want is the ability to fail. I don't want the game to hold my hand during the investigation sections. And I feel like even the Telltale games hold your hand during the investigation sections because if you put two things together wrong, the game is not built in a way that the story can advance if you make the wrong decision. And you can't make the wrong decision during
That
investigations
would be
because
very
every time that you
that would be very interesting if you could like get things wrong and the story progresses. That would be very interesting.
that's Sherlock Holmes does that a lot, and what they straight up don't even tell you if you made the right decision. Like you have to read the newspaper like after you solve the case to see what happens after, and even then they don't tell you like you did the right thing or you did the wrong thing. Like it's completely up to interpretation and to like morals as to whether or not you did the right thing.
Yeah,
That is something that's really interesting to me.
it would be fun if the result of you not figuring it out is that the mission essentially gets harder. Like you're put in a situation where essentially Batman's caught off guard because you were just stupid and couldn't figure it out. Whereas if you do figure it out, you're put in a position where you catch the villain off guard because you know what they're planning. That would be very interesting.
Or even something like Dishonored, where like the city gets worse. Like you fail to like arrest the right person for these string of murders, and even more heinous murders start popping up around the city. Like something like that would be really cool. But I feel like they don't really focus on investigation too much in a game about the world's greatest detectives. But
Honestly, I'd
I
love a
really feel
Batman
like they should.
game.
I feel like it'd be good.
I love a Batman game that was like exclusive, not exclusively, but almost exclusively stealth and investigation. That would be really fun.
That's basically Sherlock Holmes with the Batman shader over it. But honestly, I wouldn't hate that. I really would not hate that.
But yeah, but when it comes to that boss fight, it was like I like the boss fight, but it was less the boss fight and just seeing Nightwing look like a fun character to play that made me interested. It wasn't just the boss fight, and that's what most people are saying as well. It's like boss fight looked fine to me. It wasn't the best boss fight ever. It did look fun though, but it's not the best thing ever. But it was the way Nightwing moved. He looks faster. It looks smoother. He looks like he'll just be a joy to play, and he was always going to be the character I played the most of. And it just showed me that okay, this game it'll be fun to beat people up, and that's all you can ask for in a game like this.